Welcome. This video is part of our submission to the challenge by the Federal Trade Commission to help stop robocalling. To learn more about the challenge, follow the link on the screen. This is you. This is you after you just got a call that made your day better. This is you after the fifth call in a week from a robocaller trying to sell you a cruise trip. At some point of time, everyone wonders how they could get these pesky robocallers out of their lives so that all calls they got were ones they actually cared about. Now, before we delve into that, it makes sense to remember that there are indeed situations where robocalling is actually legal and useful. For example, schools informing parents about changed school timings, hospitals sending reminders of patient appointments, political candidates calling you during election season, local government sending out public safety messages. However, given that the bulk of robocalls we get are nothing of this sort, we are back to the problem of solving illegal robocalls. It therefore makes sense to try and understand how robocalls work, and this slide picked from the FTC website does a good job of explaining it. It all starts with a telemarketer creating a database of phone numbers, a fake caller ID, and a pre-recorded message, which it then hands over to the auto-dialing company. That company then uses VoIP services, which stands for Voice over Internet Protocol, to place a large number of these calls rapidly. It is at this point that the fake caller ID is added, which you see when you receive the call. The VoIP services hand over the call to the telephone carriers, which route the call through the public switched telephony network, also called PSTN, until it reaches your phone carrier. Your phone carrier then connects you to the call, which ends up causing you so much annoyance. So now you know. And how do you make it all stop? Well, we could start by getting all standard bodies to agree that auto-dialing companies must embed a globally unique fingerprint into each outgoing call. That unique ID must be traceable back to the auto-dialing company and by extension the telemarketer. This would immediately allow us to stamp out the fake caller ID menace. The next thing to be done is that the federal government should mandate that all robocallers operating out of this country should apply for a permit that lists the following: permitted geographies that can be targeted by the callers, time zones for allowable calls, the allowed volume of calls, etc. While placing the call, a reference to the permit will have to be added to the call data. Various VoIP services and telephone carriers will be charged with validating that anyone placing a slew of calls must provide the fingerprint and the permit in the call data. If they do not see that, they will throttle the rate at which the calls are connecting. Also, given that as a receiver you did not ask to be called, it makes sense that you would much rather that the caller bore the costs of the call. The VoIP and telephone services will be tasked with extracting the full call charges from the robocaller. Another feature that would be very useful is that the cell phone and the landline making companies should allow the user to block specific callers without being connected. The phone company should keep an eye out for robocallers violating the do not call list and report them. The user should also be able to do so. If a robocaller got reported, the fingerprint and permit should be traceable back to the call originator, which would allow law enforcement to revoke the permits of the robocallers. This would then impact their ability to place calls in the future. Now these are very good ideas, which if implemented, the number of annoying phone calls would drastically reduce. However, getting these actually implemented could take a while, and one may wonder what they could do while they wait for that to happen. Maybe suggest that you pick up meditation, or tackle the problem of global warming, or could we interest you in contributing to world peace? In all seriousness though, if you are sick of waiting and would much rather do something tangible, we may have just the thing for you. Introducing Save Me Time, a service that works with your existing phones, be they landlines or cell phones. You can check it out at http://savemetime.azurewebsites.net. And if you have smartphone, you could do that right now from your phone. You register the site with your email ID and your actual phone number. Once registered, we provide you with a new phone number in the cloud. This phone number may be considered as your public phone number. Feel free to hand it out as you feel necessary, while keeping your actual cell phone number secret. Anyone can call your public phone number, and they will be rerouted to your actual phone. Now you may wonder why that is a good thing. Introducing the notion of caller types. You can go to the Save Me Time website and provide labels to all your callers. You can list all people who you like receiving calls from as your friends. If you hate a caller so much that you would much rather not get calls from them, you can label them as scum or evil. Anyone who you know well enough but find a tad boring, and you would much rather avoid talking to them, feel free to list them as bores. Everyone else will be automatically categorized as unknown callers. When a friend calls you at a public number, they get automatically connected to your private number. If an evil, scummy person calls you at your public number, they get a message that indicates that your number is no longer active. A bore calling you would be asked to leave you a voicemail, which you would then get as an email. The behavior for unknown caller is more interesting. They get prompted to dial a numeric passkey, which acts as an audio capture. If they get it right, they get connected to your private phone number. If they don't, the call gets dropped. Every time we block a call for you, we send you a mail that lists the number that got blocked. So if we made a mistake by blocking someone, you would know about it and could unblock them for the future if you so desired. The previous behavior makes it likely that if a person calls you, they would be able to enter the passkey and get connected to you. If a machine calls you though, it is unlikely for it to be able to dial the exact passkey, and the call would never get to you. While this is quite cool, we understand that sometimes you might want a tad more control on how calls get to you. To enable that, we also provide user settings. The behavior that was just described is the default setting. You could change that to a friends-only setting, where only your friends get through to you. Bores and unknown people get directed to your voicemail. Calls from scum get dropped. You could also set it to block everyone mode, where friends, bores, and unknown callers all go to your voicemail, and calls from scum, as always, get dropped. Lastly, if you were expecting a call from someone and you do not really know what number you could get the call from, you could use the Allow Stranger mode, where unknown callers get directly connected. Every other caller has the same experience as in the default settings. Another cool feature for you: when you call your own public number, you get prompted to dial a phone number. Once you are done dialing, you get connected to that person, and they see your public phone number as the caller ID. In fact, it is possible for you to save the other person's phone number in a format that allows you to just press the call button and be connected using your public phone number. A sample of that has been shown here. The first part is your phone number in the cloud. The series of commas adds a pause in the call, which allows enough time for the call to your public phone to be connected. The second part of the numbers is Jim's phone number, which you end with a star. That instructs for a redirection to Jim's phone. Okay. We have talked about the Save Me Time service a whole lot. Here we get to see the very first glimpse of the service itself. I have registered with the service, and you can see the name I registered with, my email ID, my personal phone number, the assigned public phone number, and the passkey. You can also see my current call setting. I don't have any designated contacts yet, which I will fix now by adding a contact. And here I am adding Debbie, her phone number, and designating her as a friend. I ended up adding a few more contacts here. Of personal interest is the contact added as anonymous. It is fairly common to get phone calls from people who are hiding their caller ID. For them, the caller ID will often simply show strings like restricted, anonymous, blocked, etc. The VoIP service that backs Save Me Time converts that caller ID string into digits and passes that as the calling number. For example, the number 266-696-687 is a phone word representing anonymous. You can see more details in the link listed at the bottom. On the Save Me Time website, you can also see a few links at the top, which allow you to change your password or delete your account with us. But it is far more common to change your account settings, which would allow you to change the name that gets announced when people call you, the 3-digit passkey that challenges strangers calling you, and your call setting. That's it, actually. Thank you for watching this video. Feel free to try out Save Me Time and then vote for us at the Robocall Challenge website.